Hello, hello, beautiful, awakened boss ladies. Here we are on our Tuesday Confessions of an Awakened Boss Lady. And this week is the week where we bring on a guest. And today, as you know, we are met here with my friend and my sister, Liimu Mcgill. I am so excited to have you here, Liimu. I don't even know if I will give you chances to talk. I'm just gonna just go in and ask all the things that I want you to share with my beautiful ladies. But before we get started, I do love to let people know why we do this. Why is this so important? So, we're here in Confessions of an Awakened Boss Lady. As you know, my name is Patty Ferreira. I'm your intuitive success catalyst and business strategist. And I'm here with Liimu in an attempt to give back, to share from behind the veil the moments in which we've walked through the dark night of the soul, walked through experiences where things have dismantled and seen them as breakthroughs and come out the other side and recognized the jewels, the nuggets, the ways in which these things are literally happening for us. And we're here to share vulnerably what it felt like before, during, and after the experience, right? And give permission to all those versions of us. So once again, Liimu, I'm so excited that you're here with us. I want to hear, I'm just gonna preface a little bit so that we make sure we have it on the parking lot. I want to hear all about your one woman show and how you showed up in that experience and what came through that. I want to hear about your signature line, dream big because our children are watching. These are the things that I'm putting on the parking lot in case we get excited and move in other directions. But my first question, are you ready for it, love?
Ready. I'm
Yes.
ready. Thanks
I
for
want
having me.
I want us to get to know you. I want us to get to know what are you most passionate about currently? What is your current creation? Where is your heart currently? And how are you contributing through that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So, my life has been turned upside down in the last year, and it has been a blessing because I am living from my passion. And what I'm passionate about is co-creation with divine
Mm,
and the abundance
mm,
that follows true co-creation with divine. The truth of anything being possible
mm,
that follows the spirit of co-creation with divine. And in practicality, what that's looking like is a couple of things. One is that abundance mindset coaching, which I'm just so excited to help people to wake up to how abundant the universe truly is and their lives truly are and they truly are. And it's not just money, although it is that, but it's also time and love and joy and ideas and creativity. There's just enough. There is enough. There is enough. There is enough to go around. There's all that you could possibly want and more. And so I love amplifying that out into the world. I love when people light up to their own abundance. And then the other side that I'm really passionate about and I'm living is executive coaching that is centered around bringing executive leadership into even more integrity, into
wow.
even more alignment with purpose, into even more understanding of how they're perceived and how that is to a certain extent true, so that
Mhm.
there's alignment between their intent and their reputation, and how it's only when the two are aligned that we can truly make a difference and change the lives of the people who are basically putting their future in our hands to a certain extent. And
Yes.
so my time as a CEO in corporate America really lit this up as a passion in me. I saw the difference it made when leaders showed up in integrity, and I saw the difference it made when they didn't.
Yeah.
And I personally have really, really been impacted by leaders that have not shown up in that way. And so it has become a true passion of mine to help leaders come into even more integrity, even the ones who are showing up with integrity, to show them that they can lean in even more and even more and
Yeah.
even more.
I love it. I love it. I almost like, I'm so visual, right? So I immediately see the journey, right? Integrity and authenticity leading to alignment,
Mm-hmm.
leading to
Mm-hmm.
abundance, right? Like I see it
Absolutely.
as the pathway that
Absolutely.
you're
It is the
open.
pathway. Yeah, because
So,
so much of not showing up in integrity is about fear and
yeah,
scarcity mindset. And like, oh, I can't let you do that because if I let you do that, then this might happen. And oh, I can't, support you in doing that because then you might leave. And just so much fear that when you can release that and put your hand in the hand of whatever you believe causes the sun to rise and set, the ocean, divine, God, Buddha, whatever,
yeah,
you can put your hand in that energy and co-create from that place where it's not all on you. You're not the one causing the sun to rise in the morning and set at night. Then
yeah,
you can just relax. You can just relax into your desires. You can just relax into your gifts and your passions and let the rest of it just magically, in synergy, organize
yeah.
for you, with you. Even when it looks like it's not, it is. That's
Yes, I
abundance
love
mindset.
that. I feel like, I love reflecting back what I'm hearing when you share, because I feel like it lands in so many places for me. First of all, I love how expansive you've made the word abundance. Like, we are not only talking about, money in your pocket. We're talking about birthright. We're talking about,
Mhm.
knowing that if you are expansively and abundantly, like, taking and authentically taking up space, you
Yes.
will then see it just come. You become the magnet, right? You attract it to
Mhm.
yourself. You just become that in all the different areas. And you bringing this to corporate America, where, I was in corporate America for over 30 years, and I cannot tell you how many masks I had to choose from
Oh, of
when I was
course.
ready in the morning. Like, I'd have some to just drive to work, and then right before I get out the car, I'd realize, no, that's not the mask that's going in. It's going to be this one.
Flip, 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 flip. Which one am I gonna? Oh, right, this one. I have this meeting today with this group of people. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, it's exhausting.
Oh my
It's
God.
exhausting.
So
Yeah.
big bow to you, sister, because that is an area that really, really is calling. I could hear the soul cry just from the women that I work with on a personal basis that are showing up there, how heavy and loud it's getting for them. So big bow for that. Cool.
Mhm.
All right, so let's get in a little bit closer. Like, let's get in behind the veil. I want to know about, Limu the woman, Limu the human, right? Like, and I'd love if you felt safe in our environment to share something that not many people know about you. Like, if I asked you what your answer could be to, if you really knew me, Patty, you'd know dot dot dot. I'd love to hear what that could be.
Okay, if you really knew me, you'd know that I once got booed off stage at the Apollo.
What? Seriously? Like, that's an honor.
I know. Well, that's why I'm not embarrassed because, like, yeah, but I was there. Were you there? Were you on the stage? Yes, I
Yes.
did. Oh my gosh, I did. My father was in the audience. I did.
Oh
Boo.
my
They
God.
were like this. And actually, I should correct that. I didn't get booed off stage. I got to finish the whole song. It's not like the Sandman came out, but they were literally in the front row, like, because I was just screaming. I was just screaming, but I gave it my all. I really did.
Oh my God. And I feel like this is the moment where we get to hear about the one woman show, because, like, how long ago was the Apollo thing? Was there like a feeling of like redemption? Like, I feel there's a connection there that we could link here, one from the other. Tell
Sure,
us about the one
sure.
woman
Well, and what
show.
else? Yeah, the thread throughout my life that both of those things point to are like, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? I want to see what it's like. People talk about the Apollo. I want to go. So, and the one woman show was really a byproduct of me entering the world of motivational speaking and keynote speaking and realizing that I wanted to do it a little bit differently. Like I wanted to tell my story, but I also wanted to sing, and I also wanted to like be the characters that I was talking about. And so when someone said to me, "That sounds like you want to do a one-woman show," I said to myself, "Self, I think we do want to do a one-woman show." And so I did. Because that's what women's mindset is like, but why not? And not because I wanted to win a Tony and not because I wanted to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but just because I can. Like that's what living is about. That's what this life is about.
Yeah.
Just do it because you can.
Yes. And I love that because there's so many pieces here, right? So many little golden threads that you're giving me. It's so juicy. I'm like, mwah, mwah, mwah. The one that I feel matters the most right now is a combination of just giving yourself permission and the letting go, being completely detached from, well, why? And why does it matter, and how will I do that, and all the things that we want to get answers to before we give ourselves permission to do something. Mm-hmm. And I love the way I hear you putting what goes first, which is I'm going to do this. I'm going to give myself permission to live this out, to see myself in the experience, and let's see what's on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. So much.
Can I share a story with you? And this is, I think I'm jumping ahead maybe because this is my story of, what it was like before, and then,
yes, the breakdown to the breakthrough type of experience. Oh, good. I love when you're easy interviewing.
Without sounding too pluggy, this is actually the story that was in the One Woman Show, and it's also the story that's in the Mom Star Manifesto, which we are re-releasing as writing
that's
your next
book,
chapter.
Right? Is that your book?
Yes. It's we're coming out with a new version of the book that actually has instructions about how to do it yourself, how to write yourself into your own next chapter, because that's essentially what I do. And so I was working at this job and I was so miserable, and literally people were dying and they were sick and they were having infections, and it was just the most toxic environment, physical manifestations of this toxic environment, and it was affecting me also. And I came to know about, I became enlightened to law of attraction and manifestation and some of these other principles and my own power, essentially. And so I decided that I was just going to leave and I was going to start my own business. And I remember a couple of things so clearly when that happened. And there's so many things about that period that I could share with you. But the two things that I remember most clearly were, one, that my manager at the time was sort of like condescending about the fact that I was leaving, and so sure that I was going to fail. It became a multi-million-dollar business, by the way, but we'll get to that later. So, but he was so sure that it was going to fail. And he was like, aren't you afraid to leave without knowing what's going to happen and without having a project?
Yeah, the projection.
Right. And the answer came so quickly. I am way more afraid to stay.
Yeah.
I was so clear in that moment that if I stayed, nothing was going to change. I would not grow. None of those dreams I had for myself or my children, being able to be there at the end of the day when they came home from school, none of that was possible. And I didn't know if it was possible if I left, but I knew it wasn't possible if I stayed.
Yeah.
And so I was willing to take that chance. And so I left, not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing what was on the other side. And the other thing, this is the second thing that I remember so clearly, is how many people, especially women, came up to me and said, I'm so jealous. Take me with you. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I would say, then do it. And they'd say, oh, but I don't know what I want to do. I just don't want to do this. And I'd say, well, you have to know, you have to pick something, and it doesn't have to be right. You can pick again and pick again and pick again,
Yeah.
but you have to pick something, because you can't get there. There is not here. There is there. If you just say, I don't want to be here, then you're going to keep
That's
being
enough.
here.
Yeah.
You've got to choose what there is and
Yeah.
then go in that direction.
Yes. I love that.
So such an amazing journey. And on the other side of it, it was beyond my wildest dreams. It was ease and grace
Yeah.
and adventures and millions of dollars. And I was able to be home when all my kids, were coming home from school, when I
Yeah.
was able to be at the functions. It was all of the things that I wanted, the balance. And
And the beauty about that is, like, you know, we understand how hard the choice point is, right?
mhm,
And it's a lot of times the hardest part, because
mhm.
once you made that choice,
Yeah,
once you made the choice, all the other things reorganized
absolutely.
to support that choice point. And that's what I share with a lot of the women that I work with, the power of a choice.
Yeah.
Even if it's, this is not it, right? That's a choice point. Like, I don't know what it is, but this is not it. And it's costing me too much, and enough of this, and let's go out and find what is. Like, that's a choice in its own.
Yeah.
Versus the, I don't know what it is, this is not it, but I'm just going to sit here in limbo until someone does for me.
Right. That's
Right?
exactly right. And that's the thing. It's not, I don't know what it is, full stop. It's, I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. Let me figure it out.
Let me figure it out. Let me find it for myself. And the
Yeah.
permission
And
to seek that out, right? Tell me more. I want to hear more.
the other thing that you said just now, which is I've been thinking a lot about lately, actually was having a conversation with my husband the other day about this, is because we just made the decision to be bi-coastal
I know.
because we
I
want
know.
to. And because we want to and because we can, and there have been a lot of like kind of chatter, and this we all have this experience where there's like naysayers and doubters, and so there's been a lot of chatter about like, oh, how much is that going to cost you? How much is that going to cost you? Can you afford it? How much is going to cost? And we were talking, my husband and I, about the different frequency that we hold when we're there.
Yeah.
And when we think about that, then we start to think about what it would cost us to not go. And can we really afford to not go?
Not go.
Because when we think about what something is costing, we have to think about beyond the money.
Yeah.
We have to think about the future possibility and the person that we're able to become. So,
And that's the piece that I hear in your evaluation, right? When you, and correct me if I'm picking up like different from what you're putting down, but what I hear in what you're sharing is there was a moment even before you knew what you were doing where it was just, the cost was too high.
that's right. That's exactly
What
right.
it was costing you was just too high. And
Mhm.
what it was, how expensive energetically it was too much. And I'm sensing that that is also the moment where your signature saying came in, which is dream big because your children are watching.
Well, what had happened was like my experience of co-creating with divine is that when you take one step forward, divine comes running 5 paces in your direction. And so
Yes.
as soon as I said, you know what, I'm willing to write my next chapter, and put pen to paper and started writing about what I wanted from my life, things started organizing at just a breakneck pace.
Always.
So much,
Yeah.
so much more than I could have imagined. And the thing that happened was, which you probably already know this, I had this opportunity to audition for a reality show, a singing show, ironically, after my failed Apollo attempt. I had an opportunity to audition for this singing show with Patti LaBelle gospel choir in Philadelphia. And I got it. And not only, and this is all in the book too, but not only did I get it, but at one point I'm like in a rehearsal and I'm just so excited to be there. I can't even stand it. And I ask if I can take a picture with her because I'm like all, celebrity, in celebrity shock. And she leans in and she says, "Why are you not singing that solo?" And I'm like, "I can. You should." And I'm like, "Okay, I will." And so like I did not know the song at all. I went home that night. I listened to it on repeat, and the song itself was like the lyrics were my life. They were like all about like having just taken your hands off the wheel and said, "You got this, God. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to give it to you." And so I just cried and cried and cried because I could see it. I knew that I was going to be singing this solo and I was going to be singing on television, and it had been like my childhood dream, like. Really, Divine? You're not just going to give me the thing that I'm asking for, but you're going to give me the deeper thing that I didn't even have the courage to name because I so didn't believe that it could happen. And fast forward a couple months later, and I'm on that stage and I'm singing that song, and millions of people are watching. It's network television. And you'll see me just like sobbing, snotting like a, little baby not because of anything other than, oh my God. Anything really is possible. Like here I am, 38 years old, 37 years old, 3 little kids at home, corporate job. I'm here doing the thing that they said I couldn't do. And that's what my kids saw. They were at home watching. And I transmitted all of that possibility, all of that. Don't believe them when they tell you you're not good enough. Don't believe them when they tell you it can't be done. Don't believe them when they tell you it's over. Don't believe them when they tell you because you're a mom or because you're 20 pounds overweight or because you're white or because you're black or because you're tall or because you're short or because you're a woman. Don't believe them when they tell you it's not possible because it's all possible.
So powerful.
And that's what I transmitted.
You did. You did. I know, and I know you did. And I also know that it's been your like torch that you light up wherever you go. It's like
wherever I go.
Like the light that you carry through any dark experience. Like I know that has been an imprinting that has forever been.
That's what I came here to do. That's what I came here to do. And it honestly, the thing that I think even more important than the fact that my kids were watching is the first part of that phrase, which is that it starts with me dreaming big.
Yeah.
Because so many parents and so many teachers and so many, they're like, you can do this and you can do that and you can do anything, but show them that it's possible by doing it yourself. And it's like we give ourselves permission to have these massive dreams and achieve them. And again, going back to the one woman show, that's what that was. Like, let me show you that, like, I haven't been on a stage in 30 years.
And it's the beautiful way because we talk about self-care and we talk about going first and we talk about walking through life from a place of cup runneth over, right? We talk about these things, right? And this is the moment where what it looks like when you choose to do the thing that you most desire, and that being the most medicine you could ever offer your children.
Yeah,
that's what we get to understand. As a mom, I spent a lot of time thinking that it was my settling and my sacrificing that was the medicine. And what I want to make sure we're heard is that it's you being the one that you take care of first. That is the biggest medicine, the biggest contribution, the biggest modeling that you can do for your children and for everyone else that's looking your way. Because it's like our mentor says, right? What one woman does for herself, she does for every woman.
And every child.
And every child. I was just going to say that. Yes. I love it. I love how we're like this, so in line with this, and I want to, be respectful of time and your time especially. So I'm gonna offer up my last, like, question. Right, we've talked a lot about permission, we talked about, self, right? And one of the things that I am very devoted to is helping women tap into the power of self, helping women tap into the expansiveness of the word self, right? And when I do that, I teach them how important it is to tap into self discovery and self awareness, how valuable it is to get into a place of radical self acceptance, right? Trust of self, care of self, love of self, so that they can tap into self leadership, right? So my question to you, Liimu, is, of all these elements around the power of self that I've just mentioned, where do you see yourself right now if you looked at yourself from that perspective? Which pillar of the power of self are you devoted to?
Self acceptance.
Wow, I want to hear more. Like, the woman that does it because she can. Tell me more.
Yeah,
That's a powerful and vulnerable response. Thank you. Tell
yeah.
me more.
Well, I have, I mean, I would say that it's sort of an iterative process, right? So there have been times where I was at a level of self acceptance, and then either life was my teacher or somebody else. I had a teacher who allowed me to get to a deeper level of self discovery, right?
Right.
And so, because you've been walking this path with me, that in this last year, my whole everything, my whole idea of what who I was and where my value came from and what was important, and everything was dismantled. And I have spent this time really, really getting to, like, discovery with that, really facing that.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in the process of accepting it,
Mm.
of really accepting this deeper understanding of who I am, this deeper understanding of what I came here to do, and really that, like, who I work for. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter what anybody thinks, because I know who I work for and I know what I came to do at a deeper level than I've known before. So I think now it's a matter of, there's all this external noise about, because who I am and what I came to do is going to require visibility, a lot of visibility. And there's all this external noise about what I need to look like, and how old I can or can't be, the things that I just mentioned earlier, that I know rationally don't matter.
Yeah.
But feeling that and being able to show up vulnerably, and it's one thing to show up in corporate America as an executive leader. It's another thing to show up soul naked. This is what I came to do.
Yeah.
This is who I am. And so being able to do that with that same level of, like, what's the worst that can happen? That does require like you said, radical self-acceptance. And that's where I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to, is radical self-acceptance.
Wow. I witness vulnerability. I witness bold, brave, confident, courageous queen moves, sister. And I witness doing it with fear. And I witness eyes wide open, like really being able to discern where you're at and what are the pieces that need, you know, nurturing and caring and feeding and seeding and watering in order for that to grow, right? The self acceptance. And I love hearing this because, we can think that there was something already embedded in someone before they went off and did the thing. And to hear you, it's like, oh, she's got this, or she knows this, or she's been this, right? We tend to make that the story versus all there needs to be is discernment and awareness of what you get to put in your bag, right? Self acceptance gets to come because I'm going to need it.
Mhm.
It's going to be
Yeah.
one of the requirements. So I bring it with me, right? And making sure that in your bag, you've got the things that you need and that can support the next leg of your journey versus the things that make it heavier.
Yeah. And
I,
the people.
yeah, things, people, yeah, 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 yeah. People detox is what I call it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there should be a whole retreat around that alone.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, sister, this has been so good. It's so sweet. We're up to time. I didn't mention that I asked people to share their favorite quote as we sign off, just because
Oops.
some people, but if you have one that's coming through, that would be good. If not, we can definitely use dream big because your children are watching. That is like
Yes,
a
because of course when you
mission.
asked me, my mind went completely blank, and the only thing I could remember was the Shakespeare quote from my senior year yearbook, which was, "What, you egg?" Which makes no sense at all.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It makes sense. Yeah, it's the seed. You are the seed. You are the egg.
I guess so, huh? Oh, that's great.
I love it. All right, sister, we are off. Thank you so much. This has been so juicy, so delicious, so rich. As you say, it's been like chocolate cake, sister.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to your lovely group. I love you.
Yes, thank you. Bye bye.